Road monkey like Fritos. Road monkey like Tab and Mountain Dew. Road monkey, very simple man, with big warm fuzzy secret heart. Road monkey like you. Road monkey like you.
Hey guys, what's up? It's me, the Media Raptor, and we are still counting our way down to episode 150, and yeah, it's time for another episode of the Media Raptor Reviews, even though it's the wrong intro for this series, but whatever. So tonight, you guys, we're going to take a look at, surprise, surprise, another horror movie. This one from 2017, and a sequel to a movie I really didn't care all that much about in the first place, but, you know, I thought this one could be interesting. I'm talking, of course, about Annabelle Creation. So, full disclosure, the first Annabelle movie sucked. It had a great premise, but no body count, and no real scares. So, yeah, that just screamed sequel. But I will give this movie credit. It is far better than the original. Again, that might not be saying much. But it also kind of is a good movie on its own. See, the movie... it actually tells the origin story of the Annabelle doll in the Conjuring universe, not the actual one, but I will get to the actual one in a minute because they do kind of tie it. I don't want to spoil anything just yet. So we follow the story of this family of a doll maker and how his daughter is killed, and then, well, her spirit apparently comes back and says she'd like to move into one of the dolls. Only problem is, it's not their daughter. Yeah, okay, you guys, I'm going to just take a minute real quick and just deliver this helpful PSA. Anyone who ever thinks that playing with an Ouija board or trying to summon a spirit is a good idea, please just shove your head into a brick wall. Your time would be better suited to shoving your head into a brick wall than doing one of those things. You want to know why? It's not because it won't work. It's because it will work. Spirits, in and of themselves, lie. See, Ouija boards are literally gateways to opening things to the afterlife, essentially, is what I believe. I knew a guy who used one. It didn't end well for him, and I'm not making that up. See, what happens is, when you ask a spirit a question, it is not under no obligation to speak honestly, and will often do whatever they want to try and get to you. Because spirits often want to get to our world. If it means impersonating someone for 5 minutes till they can come in, well, they're gonna do that. And that's kind of what happened in this movie. Anyhow, the actual main characters are a bunch of kids who are with a orphanage, I think it was, that they had to move, and now they're moving into this old farmhouse where it turns out the doll maker and his wife lived. Those two are actually really nice characters, and the kid characters are nice enough, and... you know, I will give this movie credit, while it does lack, once again in the body count department, it actually has some genuine scares. A few which not only made me jump, but a few which kind of made me go, what is going on, what is going on, what is going on, what is going on, what is going on? And this is a PG-13 horror movie, and it actually succeeded in being scary. So let's get to the actual plot, to the actual why this is all happening. See, one of the girls accidentally goes into a room. Of course, she was not supposed to. You'd kind of think they would just board that up or something instead of just leaving it unlocked or whatever, and finds the Annabelle doll. That's the green light for the spirit to start being an asshole. And by that I mean start scaring people and ultimately kill a few people. So the rest of the movie, the doll is kind of forcing this one girl to do what she wants, because she's trying to essentially pull a child's play and take the girl's soul. No joke, that's kind of what happened. Really, it's kind of hard to talk about this movie without giving away the entire thing, because when you say one thing you have to explain it, and that kind of ruins a large chunk of the movie. I will say, while it is far more interesting than the last one, again, that might not be saying too much, it's also kind of boring. We have long scenes of characters just talking or just wandering around the house, which don't lead to a build-up or a scare or a dead body or anything. It just sort of leads up to nothing. Now, yes, you can do that to try and build up dread and suspense, and you can do that quite well and efficiently. This movie does it a few times. But you also need to actually kind of cash in on those scares and the promises of horror. Otherwise, people are going to be really bored. And the thing is, there's this weird, like, scarecrow monster towards the end of the movie, which is never explained. It looks awesome, it's actually kind of scary, and I want to know what it is, because it does a lot more damage and a lot more scariness than the actual doll itself. But it never is explained in the slightest, and we're left wondering what the heck was that. Yeah. Do you kind of see the problem I'm having with this movie? It wants to be a full-fledged horror movie, and while 90% of it, like, no, not even 90, well, 60% of it is, the other 40% isn't. Now, to this movie's credit, all the actors are at least decent. And I'm mainly talking about the child actors. Child actors are always a risk because, well, they're child actors. What do you expect? But most of them turn in a pretty decent performance. Some of them turn in an okay one, but they don't have many lines. And a few of them turn in actually a pretty good performance. And as for the few adults, it's all serviceable, it's all fine. Special effects. I mentioned the Scarecrow monster. It's a mixture of CG and practical effects, and it looks awesome. I want to see more of it. The beginning of the movie, it's supposed to be set 50 years ago. And it looks like it is. From cars to buildings to clothing, it works. And as for the actual doll, yeah, it is pretty creepy. And as for what I was talking about earlier, I'm going to spoil the ending here because, well, I'm just gonna do it because it's a cool ending. The ending is worth it, kind of. It ends with the girl who Annabelle was kind of controlling escaping. Is that cool? She gets adopted and given a Raggedy Ann doll. For those of you who don't know, the original Annabelle doll was a Raggedy Ann doll. It's stuff like that I love in movies. Yes, it's kind of open with like, oh yeah, this was the actual doll, but that kind of tribute, that kind of knowledge, at least that kind of acknowledgement is awesome in movies like this. And it ends with her grown up killing her parents, only for it to be revealed that, well, she lives right across the house from the girl in the first Annabelle movie, which leads directly into the first Annabelle. That's how you end a movie. That's how you end a prequel, directly tying into a scene from the first one. And yeah, the music's okay, camera work's fine. Lighting, it's too dark to kind of tell what's going on a lot of the time, which both works and yet doesn't. You know, it kind of feels like we would be able to be a little bit more scared if we kind of saw what was going on, but at the same time, I get why they chose to do it this way. Anyhow, you guys, can I recommend Annabelle Creation? Yeah. 2 raptor claws out of 4. It's nothing special. It's nothing... I certainly will not be watching it again. I will not be buying it on Blu-ray or anything. But there are people who will enjoy it. There are people who will find it to be a scary, fun movie. And that's fine. Go have fun. This is just my opinion. And I think that for what it is, it's a fine movie. It's serviceable. It gets the job done. For what it could have been, you missed out on a lot. But at the same time, it could have been so much worse. Really, if you're gonna make a horror movie, prequel, sequel, and you end up in the middle of it, could have been better, could have been worse, that's kind of the best you can do most of the time. But guys, that's all for now, and until next time, this is the Media Raptor saying keep cool, and I will see all you dino dudes around. Later.